Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 120 in the game that never ends. So, let's take a look at things. Alright, we did a little bit of augury, found nothing, some lichcraft, more curse of blood. We're kind of getting... I feel like we're getting to the point to where our blood economy is kind of kicking up. Which is exciting. That's kind of cool. We're late to the game compared to Lanka and Hinam, right? But it's kind of that scenario of it's kind of like a MOBA, right? It's that scenario of once everyone gets to the cap, it doesn't really matter if you're late to the game or not, because at that point everyone's at the cap and it's kind of like, right? You all have access to all the same things. And in fact, point of fact, we might actually be at a bit of an advantage coming into the blood game late, because as we are kicking things up, we're gonna be able to access different scenarios, but we actually like run into the situation of our lands are more fertile because we've been blood hunting them less. I think the whole world's lands are kind of shit right now because of the multiple cataclysms that went off. But I don't know, it's kind of an interesting situation, right? I feel like our blood economy is starting to get into a good place. Pretty excited about that. We're probably going to open up a 4th blood hunting location in the near future. So, that'll be fun. Some more Yetis. We're trying to turn our water gems into power in different locations. That's going to be done through things like Yetis and probably through things like Kokithiids, or Kidnids. We'll see how that goes, though. We put up Gelgate successfully. Sweet. We'll see if that stays up. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, whatever. Mind Hunt. We were fishing with this Mind Hunt. We were taking a very big risk with this Mind Hunt. Because we wanted to see if he is sneaking people, if he is putting stealthy astrals with his raiders, with his thugs or his super combatants to catch out mind hunters. Not this time. That's not to say that it won't be happening in the future, right? But at the very least, it's not happening this time, so maybe he's lulling us into a false sense of security. Maybe he is trying to get those things into position, or maybe it's just not something on his radar right now. Who knows? But interesting situation. So we've got a couple of blood slaves from different locations. Cool. Nazar II was attacked and killed. And this isn't really an interesting battle. We can pop in and watch it real quick, but realistically, not a lot happens here. It's a Gortide, and because of it being a Gortide, this guy just has crazy regeneration, and we have we're missing an arm, so we don't have a weapon. Our Anunnaki of Growth and Rebirth had always had kind of a good advantage against, was one of our good answers to Gortide horrors, because he has very high strength. With a weapon, he hits really, really hard. But without a weapon, and this is my own, kind of my own fault, putting a Scutata Volturnus on him for a defensive boost instead of having an offensive boost, he can't really do a whole lot of damage. So not being able to do a whole lot of damage means that he's not really going to be able to do anything against this Gortide. So instead, he uses the Earth Gems that he has to summon Earth Elementals. He does a single Earth Elemental, and then he does a whole living Earth situation, which I don't, jury's out for me on which is actually a better scenario, right? Like, living Earth versus, or all of the living spells, right? Obviously, I think, there's bang for buck. Obviously, they're better, right? Because you get so many more bodies, so many more attacks, theoretically more HP, etc., etc. But there is this kind of like weird situation where the living versions, the living spells, come out, and you have significantly you have size 4 versus size 6, right? So there's this weird situation where I'm like, sometimes I would rather people just use the big elementals. So my god's gonna come in, and basically it's gonna boil down to the fact that that we can't really hurt him enough. He just regenerates too much. We get kind of close here or there, right? And we would definitely be able to if we had a weapon. If we had an actual like weapon attack, we would be able to kill this Gore-Tide, but we don't. So he just regenerates everything, and that's pretty much that. So here's the interesting thing, though. We were worried about this last turn because we actually canceled Nazar II's. We canceled his Mind Hunt because I was worried that if there were people there, if there were astrals hidden there, that he was going to get countered and killed, right? And I wasn't sure if it would count because I knew we were going into... I wasn't sure where it fell, where Resurrection fell on the whole shtick. Apparently, it falls towards the end, so that's cool to know, right? So that means he died this turn and resurrected this turn. So, great. Interesting. Cool. What else do we have? A bunch of raiding between us and Hinam. Nothing super big, but we'll go through a bunch of different scenarios. We've taken control of Ivermark, met no enemies. We attacked into Terrace Peaks, one with a Lich. We attacked into Edirol with a Tartarian Cyclops and Titan. I just want to poke in and remember what they're doing. Iron Wills, Iron Skins, Temper Flesh, Summon Earth Power, Flight, Strength of Giants, Mist Form, that type of shit. She comes in the back. Yeah, they're both flying. They both hit pretty hard. Have fairly high defenses. She has less defense than he does, which is interesting. What does she have? Is she not... Ah, she did not Iron Skin. We need to take a look at that. Pop over here and take a look at that. Oh, because she did Iron Will. Yeah. I mean, Iron Will, obviously, that's gonna be something good for us. In point of fact, like, I do actually want him to do Iron Will. And then maybe Iron Skin, then Temper Flesh, then Summon Earth Power, and then Mist Form. We'll leave Strength of Giants off him. And then flip over here. We definitely want Iron Skin. Iron Skin puts their... I think we actually want the exact same thing. Oh, no, because he has Boots of Flying, she has Boots of Quickness, so we actually do want Flight on her. But I think we do want Temper Flesh. Flight would be the last thing I think we want. Kind of. Oof. I'd love to put Mist Form on her instead of Flight. Let's just put Mist Form instead of Flight. Interesting enough. Okay. So that was Edirol. We attacked into range of Shadow and won. We got attacked in Murius, lost. We attacked in Droigar and won. We attacked in Karnag and won. We get to witness a couple of battles as well. Attacks by a Raksharaja and a bunch of Kidnids. So Kidnids are one of the units that we're thinking of spending water gems on. These gals are very good. They come with decent gear, which starts at very nice protection. When you put something like Army of Lead on them, they have wonderful protection. Just very, very good protection. You put something like Rush of Strength on them, and they do decent damage. At their base, they don't really have great damage. But what you get is a very survivable unit that gets decent attacks per square and has awe. Very high awe, by the way. Awe 4 is pretty fucking dope. These ladies will kick ass. Very good shield also, by the way. So that's awesome. The only real downside to them, the Kidnids, as far as I'm concerned, is they have low HP. I love Kidnids in defensive scenarios where you can use Gift of Health, right, to boost up their HP. But otherwise, right, these can be cannon fodder for Flames from the Sky or Murdering Winter, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Now, that's not to say that we won't be making use of them. We probably will be making use of them because summoning them is just incredibly efficient. We've got a lot of water gems, and Yetis and Kidnids are both really good uses of those water gems, I think. So probably gonna be putting quite a bit into Kidnids here in the near future. We got another Mel card attacking into Ross. Vampire Lords attacking into Sanafe. And we get attacked twice by Relay. This, however, is not attacks from... These aren't attacks from Relay. These are attacks from Relay's Ghost Admiral, right? So the Ghost Admirals come in and kick ass. Not really much that our PD can do against them, even a good amount of PD, because they're ethereal. And there's just there's nothing that we're really going to be able to do about that. It's very annoying, but it's one of those things where we're just going to have to deal with it for now and see how it goes. We've lost Tax in the Womb, but we gained a Temple. I'll take it. Gained 13 Water Gems in Bell, 3 Misfortune in Sciatica, and construction rituals are cheaper this. Lost a scout here, lost a scout here. Gotta be careful about moving our scouts around. We're actually kind of losing a couple of scouts. We're losing coverage. I might have to do a scout turn here in the near future. Did a bunch of patrolling. Had some people die from disease, bunch of reformations, and our god returned. So, nothing crazy big for this turn. We have put up Galegate. We'll have to see how long that Galegate stays up. Right now, we are getting 52 air gems per turn. We're going to try to coast on that for a little bit and see if we can get a good amount of that. But let's just take stock of the war in general, right? Lanka has been fighting Hinnom on the western front, on their border, for quite a long time. They keep pushing back and forth and back and forth. Hinnom is giving as good as he gets in that regard. But on our side, and this isn't like I'm doing so much better. I feel like Lanka is taking more of the heat than I am, because Lanka started out hitting like 10 locations, and a lot of the locations that I was hitting were very far away from his capital, right? His capital is up here in Hinnom. I was hitting over here in the area between Mictlan and Saramatia, right? Pretty far away from his power base. And then we started fighting in this area around Tirnanog, again, still very far away from his power base. Whereas Lanka fought in this area, right? Directly, basically in response, in the area of Hinnom's power base. I hit like 10 locations initially. Lanka hit like 20 locations initially. So Hinnom has obviously had the main reprisals be towards Lanka, which means that Lanka is taking more of the brunt of the battle, and we are being able to kind of like edge in and make good headway. So we've taken Tirnanog, we've taken Jaburnia, right? We're on Halbathria right now, and there's the chance that he comes in and he is able to best us, right? But for right now, it looks like we're doing pretty good in Halbathria. And I think it honestly just comes down to that lucky fight for us in Tirnanog, where we killed a bunch of his Grigories, right? Where we turn timed him. That, I think, is the only reason we are doing so well in this front. And we're kind of, the whole thing that we're doing right now is kind of, again, pushing him, trying to strangle out his options, prevent his ability to, like, do things like Blood Hunt, prevent his ability to really get, income or those types of things, and slowly but surely whittle down his armies, and go from there, right? So I think we've got a good basis under us. We just have to, Lunk and I just have to keep up the pressure. The absolute worst thing that could happen is, for us, the absolute worst thing that could happen is Relay comes out of the water at us, Lanka and Hinnom make peace, and they turn on us, right? That's the absolute worst thing. I don't see that happening, but I could see one of those two things happening separately, right? Relay could come out of the water at us, or Hinnom and Lanka could make peace and then turn on us, right? So I'm trying to keep up good relations with Lanka, trying to keep up good communication with them, and just trying to keep the overall pressure on Hinnom at the moment, while trying to make sure that I'm prepared for the squids should they rear their ugly heads. And there's only so much that I can do against that. So yeah, just gonna have to see what's up. I hate that there's this fucking army right here. It upsets me. Because if he moves on, like, Belagor, he'll take that in a single turn. There's not really much I'll be able to do there. Okay, so what are we doing? We are raiding a bunch. Of course we're raiding a bunch. We're continuing to attack with Pyroflogos. This is risky. Pyroflogos is not exactly a resilient individual. If he gets caught out by someone, he will probably die. And there's not really a whole lot that we can do about it, truth be told. I have him set up to do spells because I think that is going to be better for him in the long run. But we'll see. Right, he is attacking into Work Inum. We're attacking into Black Alps with Isham 40. Sending a Lich into Erd. Sending a Lich into Stone Heavens. We're splitting up the Tarts. Tart 14 and 15. One's going to Saramatia. One's going to Iron Range. We have Lich 16 moving back into Murius. Isham 41 moving into Trottern, and a couple of more movements from Olentova as our kind of like base of operations again. We're moving some people into Halamire in kind of anticipation of getting got. So a Vamp is going into Halamire. We're sending, I think, a Lich from Irnanog into Halamire, in case he sends people from White Forest up this direction. If he sends a whole army, right, those two will obviously just get stopped. But if he sends just a small group, like a small relief force maybe, then they might be able to cause some trouble there. We'll see. Raiders into, or kind of like anticipatory counter raiders. And obviously, if I could just attack a location, I would have just attacked a location. But I can't reach everywhere from Olentova now. So we're going into Andorra and Delufe as kind of like anticipatory counter raids. See how that goes. Up here are the two locations that the fucking ghosties got us, right? But I think the downside of this spell of the Ghost Ship Armada is that they don't like take the province, right? They raid it. Gold will be returned to the caster of the enchantment, and the dead will be used to build up the armada. So the armada gets stronger, and that is dangerous, right? But you can just take the provinces back, right? So that's what we're planning to do. We're gonna move some Ishibs into one province, and we're gonna move a small group of just Urgard into the other province because they should be free from military units. We are mind hunting, I think, in Mirius. So the goal is to try to mind hunt this Melkart. And then we are actually cloud trapezing. We're magic phasing, hopefully, this Melkart with, I think, 2 or 3 Gudus. And the reason why we're doing this is we're just testing out options here. But if we take a look in Ross, this Gudu, or this Melkart... Okay. I hate it when that happens. So this Melkart is a dangerous, scary guy, but he doesn't really have a whole lot going on. And if you take a look at his script, he does Summon Earth Power, Iron Skin. So Iron Skin boosts his protection very, very high, but it also makes him susceptible to shock. All shock attacks on this creature have their damage doubled, but the extra damage cannot exceed this value, right? So it can't exceed 5 extra damage. The hope is what we're going to try to do. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to cloud trapeze some air Gudus in and summon some air elementals with him. The concept being that he'll likely get Summon Earth Power off, and then we will have summoned air elementals, and then they'll go up in the air, and he'll do Iron Skin, right? And then he'll be susceptible to shock, they'll land on him, and hopefully they'll stun the shit out of him while they push him around, right? That's the idea, is if he is not stunned and he's able to just attack, he'll probably beat them. But we're testing out the idea of how effective is this as a counter scenario to Melkarts without shock resistance. And I think it'll probably be okay. I'm not sure, though. So we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed there. We are moving a pretty big contingent of units. Air Gudus, Enkidu Shamans, Liches, etc. A pretty large amount of forces from Tirnanog to Halbathria. And I think I have calculated it. I think, to where I am bringing enough endless bags of wine to not be starving. Dear Lord Jesus, please let us not be starving. Again. Oop. Basically, bringing, like, all of my bags of wine. Not all of them, most of them. I rephrase that. The goal being to break Halbathria next turn and go ahead and take it, use it as another, again, right, the whole concept being is we're putting temples down, we're preaching in these areas. We already have, in a single turn, we've taken Tirnanog up to 4 candles. We want to get Jaburnia up to a couple candles. We want to solidify our Dominion, and then we want to start pushing. We want to get our Dominion pushing against Hinnom. And this is an investment not just against Hinnom, but the ultimate goal of post Hinnom, right? In the world without Hinnom, how do we win against Lanka? Probably by having a incredibly powerful Dominion and doing Dominion-based globals, like Gift from Health, or like Dark Skies, or Wrath of God, or whatever it is. You know, those types of things. So trying to keep that type, or Vengeful Waters, right? Vengeful Waters would probably be great. So trying to keep that type of shit in mind. But in order to do that, we have to have a strong Dominion. And we're doing pretty good right now, but a lot of the Dominion push that we have is going into Relay territory and Lanka territory, and not into Hinnom territory right now. So we've got to be careful, or we've got to just keep focusing on that and trying to do what we can do. Next goal is to try to pop Halbathria. And the hope here, right, is he's kind of getting isolated. He's kind of getting strangled out. He's got these very strong armies that are going to be very tough to deal with. Raphabolia, White Forest, here in Realm of Silence. I'm assuming on his capital, but he's not really able to reinforce these armies. The hope, right, is that he's not really able to reinforce these armies, that we're slowly but surely whittling down his numbers, and that he's going to become siloed. And then as he becomes siloed, right, the goal will be to try to do what we can to cheese different situations, like teleport attacks onto different locations that he's not anticipating, right? Like we could do something as simple as like moving an army onto Andoria, but the army is primarily like I don't know, all astral and all air, right? And then in that moment, instead of attacking White Forest, we use the lab in Andoria to teleport everyone over to Realm of Silence, right? So that whatever he tries to counter with in White Forest, we avoid, and we just try to do something like one turn pop Realm of Silence. So those are the kind of ideas that I'm trying to like get towards. It's just going to take us time and effort to get there. Some of the options that we might start doing in the near future is we might start taking things like our Enkidu Shamans that are Earth 3. We've got a couple of natural Earth 3s that can up to Earth 4s, but we don't have a crazy amount of them. So we might actually take a couple of our Earth 3s and produce some Earth Trolls. Troll Kings, right? And those are naturally Earth 3. We can give them boots. They'll be Earth 4. We can give them a booster, and we can do some, like, crumble attacks, right? So in a single turn, we can teleport onto something like Realm of Silence and crumble the shit out of it, right? That type of stuff. So we've got ideas. I've got ideas coming. It's just we're in that kind of, like, long fold where the game's just going to go long forever, because it's not like Hinnom's not doing stuff back to us, right? What else are we doing? We've got movements. We talked about our blood economy starting to boom. We've got Perenna, Funeral, and Kohnberg. So we're going to continue blood hunting there. But I'm moving a vampire down towards Belagor. I think Belagor is going to be the next place that we are going to be potentially interested in blood hunting. And one of the reasons why I'm interested in blood hunting it is, one, because it can take it. Two, though, is if we have a number of vampires there and they're summoning thralls, then that could potentially be a way to defend Belagor in case Relay comes out of the ocean. Our shoreline has been pretty undefended for a pretty long time in this game. I would be very interested in putting something up in Rim Mountains, putting an actual. We tried before the war with Lanka. We were putting up a fort in Rim Mountains. I would like to actually get a fort up in Rim Mountains, and then we'd have a bit of a more defended border with Relay. So that's on the goal. That's the plan there. I think Belagor is going to be location 4 where we're blood hunting. I'm not really counting Pangea because we're just barely blood hunting there with growth. We're continuing to move using Olentova as our kind of like base of operations. We're moving more liches that direction. We're also moving a lot of Gudus because, again, if this Cloud Trapeze air elemental trick works on some of these Melkarts, I anticipate him just responding by, being like, well, fuck that. That's not going to happen anymore. But he does also have these, his own little teleport squads of assassins, soul-slaying assassins, right? What we can do is we can equip, or we can bring an overwhelming number of Gudus and cloud trapeze onto those squads, and we can equip them with things like I have to be careful. I can't remember if you can put, I think, different spawners on them. You can't do spawners that are mindless though, so I think you can't do something like I don't know. That one might be a little bit difficult. So we could use spawners to potentially try to divert some of the soul slays, and then just summon air elementals at them, or we can do something like again, they've got MR14, throw amulets of anti-magic on them. And then they'll have MR18, which is decent resistance. Yeah, it's just the theory of what can we try to do to counter it. I don't think that's a great counter, but you know, if he sends 10 teleporters and we send 20 Gudus, we might be able to take that teleport squad down. And again, if we're able to keep Galegate up, then we can afford to do that. Right? If we need to, if we can keep Galegate up, we can afford to toss 50 gems in a single turn at trying to destroy that squad of teleporters, because, you know, it's worthwhile. We are bringing back NC16. So I sent NC16 up here in the concept of, I guess maybe I don't want to bring him back. I am very unsure, right? The idea being is he can start summoning Kidnids up here and potentially, you know, have a counter to Relay if Relay should decide to head this direction. And if Relay never decides to head this direction, having a Kidnid force be able to go Tenera and then boom, Velvet Sea, boom, own, right? So I guess I do want to leave him here. I'm not doing Kidnids yet though. Am I not doing Kidnids yet? Fuck it. We're doing some Kidnids. I had warriors, boom. But this is 15 per cast. You get 15 of the Kidnids that we looked at earlier, right? 15 for 18 water gems is pretty damn good, honestly. Alternatively, we talked about this, is we could go the Sea King's Court route and try to, because we have 50 water income, only need 5 casts of Troll King's Court to eventually have 55 water gems per turn, at which point every successive cast we are actually making water gems. And I'm kind of curious. Okay. I don't know that that's the route we're going to go, but we're going to do one Sea King's Court. Just to do it. Because fuck it. I don't give a shit. We're playing in the late... That's like some real dumb late game stuff, right? Like, oh, we can afford to cast a Sea King's Court every single turn. Let's just do that until we're actually making more water gems than we're spending. That's stupid. That's insanity. Oh my goodness. That's such late game horseshit right there. Christ. Okay, anything else that we're doing? We're continuing to forge a bunch of different stuff. We've kind of held off. We're trying to save gems for earth gems and astral gems and a little bit of fire gems, trying to build back up a little bit. But we are continuing to do things like Rings of the Warrior, Burning Pearls. We're trying to fill out a second layer of gear, so we've got some helms coming. I think we actually ended up going ice helmets, just because whatever. We're just trying to fill stuff out. Frostbrands. We've got more endless bags of wine. I think more water bracelets and water lenses on the way, etc. Kind of getting to the point to where I'm thinking that it might honestly be beneficial for us to consider building up and preparing to attack Relay, to go underwater and attack Relay. That's part of what I've been thinking about with like the kidnids, part of what I've been thinking about with the water bracelets and water lenses. We would have to spend a long time prepping, but we've all had this joke here lately, kind of in I don't know that it's a joke in the game, in the Discord, about like waiting for Relay to rise up and kill us all, right? And I don't know how plausible it is. I don't know a lot of Relay's mechanics. I don't know that they have like great free spawn or chaff generators, or they don't have like the Pelagia pearl creators or whatever, right? I don't think so anyways. So I don't think that Relay is honestly secretly waiting and at the ready to like rise up and take everything over. But at the same time, they could absolutely rise up and cause massive issues for us, right? So I think we have been lucky that they have not done that to us in the past. And we probably just need to prep. I'm probably going to, like I said, the idea of putting something down for Rim Mountains, probably going to do that next turn. And then we probably just start recruiting some Ishibs along the coast and making Kidnids here or there, right? Kidnids, Sea Kings, etc., etc. In that kind of preparation of, okay, if we need to, we can defend ourselves against Relay, and even if we don't need to, we might be able to pull the trigger and just take them. That feels kind of overconfident to me. That feels kind of cocky to me. But I'm not sure that I'm wrong. Like, there's only so much growth that you can have with a single, like, granted, they're the only underwater nation. They've had all of this underwater stuff for a very long time, but you can only get so much out of it. And he, I think, would have taken just as much of a hit from the earthquakes as we did. Maybe not from the meteor side of things, though. I don't know. So anyways, that's just something that I've been thinking about. And that's pretty much it for the turn. There's not really anything else crazy happening. Oh, really cool thing that happened because our god got resurrected. He got an arm back. Sweet. Nice. We have put a Holy Scourge on him. We've also put a Ring of the Warrior on him. Now that he has his arm back, his attack skill is actually pretty high. If we get his attack skill very high, then he can actually kill things very quickly with the Holy Scourge. ×3 versus undead and demons, so pretty awesome, right? We could potentially use him as a counter option against Lanka attacks, or even against Hinam. I think I actually want him to come out this way. I send him to Olentova. Yeah. I think that's about it for this turn. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.